It will be.
Is it going to record?
Yes.
It's going to be recorded.
It's going to be recorded.
How?
Machine over there.
I don't see the red.
Yeah, right there. Yeah.
I don't see it.
Yeah, right there behind those gentlemen.
Oh? Where?
We respectfully request the Sangha of great virtues for the sake of this assembly and all living beings. Please turn the wonderful Dharma wheel to teach and guide us how to end birth and death, leave suffering and attain bliss, and quickly realize non-birth. Cung thính đại đức tặng thịnh, vì thứ pháp hội cấp nhất thiết chúng sanh. Tịnh chuyên diệu pháp luân giao đạo ngã mùng, như há liêu sanh thoát tư ly khổ đạc lạc, tất chứng vô sanh. Homage to the Blessed, Noble, and Perfectly Enlightened One. Nam mô Sa Đan Thô Chú Chế Đô Ye Ơ La Hơ Đi San Miao San Pu Tô Xie. Nam mô Đà Đắc Tha Tô Ya Đà Ya La Đề Tam Miao Tam Bồ Đà Toa. The unsurpassed, profound, subtle, and wonderful Dharma in 100,000 million aeons is difficult to encounter. Now that I'm able to see and hear, I will receive and maintain it. I vow to fathom the thus come one's true and actual principles. Wu shang sheng she wei miao fa bai jian wan jie nan zao yu, wo jin jian wen de shou chi, yuan jie ru lai zhen shi yi. On Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, Venerable Huineng, Venerable ShenGuang, Venerable Lafong people, and all good knowing advisors, Emitofuo. Chư Phật Bồ Tát Liêu Tzu Sư Phụ Sang Trần, Cơ Wei Chư Cha Trần, Cơ Wei Sang Chư Sư, Emitofuo. Chư Phật Bồ Tát kính thưa lục tổ, thượng tiên hóa quý tử cô quý vị thị trí thức A Di Đà Phật. Hello everyone, today is the 23rd of October 2021. We gathered here to start discussing the Sixth Patriarch Sutra, one of the most important document, Buddhist scripture on the Sutton teaching, okay, which is a distinctive characteristics of the Chan school of Mahayana. All right, so the full name is the Sixth Patriarch's Dharma Jewel Platform Sutra. Okay. And on slide, let's see. We are redoing this because we did this like 4 years ago, 4+ years ago. And when we first started for over 4 years ago, my intention was to honor my late Chinese teacher, Master ShenGuang, and so who was hiding under his shadow, and try to explain to simply try to elaborate what he meant. Was my intention. And now the conditions have changed a little bit. So now we try to explain the sutra from the American Mahayana perspective instead of Chinese Mahayana perspective. So that's why we feel that it's worthwhile to do it again and explain it in a way for people in the 21st century, especially Western educated people. I'm not Chinese, but I try. I'm sort of a hybrid person. I try to bridge the gap between the Eastern culture and the Western culture. And luckily for us, we have a lot of very competent Chinese-speaking people as well. So, and Taiwanese as well. No disrespect intended to the Taiwanese people. So it is a collaborative effort. I hope you all pitch in, and we will each other. We learn from each other and make this a richer and more rewarding experience. In particular, this is very auspicious because we also have the Korean audience as well. Korean is a culture, Buddhist culture, that emphasizes Chan meditation, in particular the Hua-To. They put a lot of emphasis on that. And so this is, in a small way, a little bit of contribution to their Chan culture, and they call it Son culture as well. Okay, so welcome all of you. Thank you very much. Okay, God, when you get on your knees like that, I go, is it me? Thank you. All right, so let's jump right into it. The sixth patriarch is the sixth patriarch from a Chinese lineage. The first patriarch was Indian. There's a Venerable Great Master Mahakasyapa. So it's a first patriarch of the Orthodox lineage of Orthodox Buddhism. So the very important thing here we need to take away from this is that this is where, if you want to learn Buddhism, if you want to learn Mahayana, this is where you should go and look for good teachers, these patriarchs. All right? And so it started in India, and then eventually it was transferred from India to China, and to via Venerable Great Master Bodhidharma, the 28th patriarch. Okay, is there a question from JMT or just my imagination? A sign keeps on flashing that, you know, or is it just Malcom who cannot decide between soul and JMT? Huh? Anyway, is it you, Malcom? Yeah, I recognize his flaming hair. Yeah. Yeah, now today. Yesterday is it's in Seoul, and today is at Jumong Temple. Yeah, hello. Yeah, the world traveler. All right, so the Venerable Great Master Bodhidharma brought the Mahayana, transferred Mahayana from India to China because that's at the time, that's where the next competent students would be found. This is a problem with patriarch. They need to go where the students are so that they can teach them and train them. Okay, so at that time, Venerable Bodhidharma had to go to India, from India to China. He abandoned India, his Indian disciples, went cold turkey to China on his own, by himself, no entourage. Okay, and he went there and to transfer the Indian Mahayana knowledge to the Chinese. The first patriarch was, so he became the first Chinese patriarch. So he's like holding two hats: Indian patriarch, 28th patriarch from India, and first Chinese patriarch. All right. So, and he transferred it to the second Chinese patriarch by the name of Huike. Okay. So what did he transfer? They didn't quite say it, but what he transferred had to be the sudden teaching. Mahayana is about the sudden teaching. If you don't have sudden teaching, you cannot teach Mahayana. If you don't understand the sudden teaching, you cannot really train the next generation at all. And that's a constraint. And that's why when we got to the sixth Chinese patriarch, Venerable Huineng, okay, he was there around the 8th century AD. All right, so now on slide number 4. In contrast, if you look at the Hinayana hierarchy of Buddhism, then you want to learn Hinayana, then I have tremendous respect for the Thai people, the Thai Buddhist system. Why is that? Because they have a long history of training people. I met some of the recent head monks, Thai monks, and they are very good. They are really pretty good levels of arhats, 4th-stage arhats, and therefore that system consistently passed on that knowledge to the next generation. This is key to Buddhism. Buddhism is about once you have the knowledge, once you have the wisdom, it behooves upon you to pass it on to the next generation. You cannot let it discontinue at all. So that knowledge about the certain teaching in Mahayana must be passed on to the next generation, okay? And similarly, in Hinayana, they have a way of training people so that they have a tremendous success. They produce a lot of 4th-stage arhats and probably Pratyeka Buddhas as well, even though I haven't met any yet. Okay, so that's the distinctive characteristics over there, and so they have a lot of Thai jargon here. They're big shots, and just between us, don't say this, don't quote me. Okay, among them are bodhisattvas. Shh. They're gonna be offended. I saw some of them are bodhisattvas. Okay, you know why it's important? Because the bodhisattvas help defend them against the demonic perversion in the system. They spot those things and say, no, cut it off. This is why you call the doctor and cut off the limb. This is a bad limb. Cut it off. Okay? Otherwise, the system will be what's the word? Master Jianjie. Tainted? What else?
I'm not sure what word we're looking for right now, sorry.
Okay, what is a more polite term for polluted? Deteriorated is too scholarly.
Is it like corrupted?
Corrupted, thank you. It's very serious. If you let corruption sneak in, that's the beginning of the end. Just like speaking of governments and politics and so forth, you know, we go to another country and try to change the government and change the political system and all, and you don't guard against corruption in the government, that's it. It will never work. Never, ever. Never happen, never work in Vietnam, for example. Okay? Never work in any country, as a matter of fact. If you have corruption in the system will fall. So what happened, never mind about politics. So what happened is that in the Thai system, they have bodhisattvas disguising themselves as arhats. And they are not in power. They only serve in advisory roles. And that's why the system is so healthy, so strong, because of that reason. They have protection. Because if you leave it alone to the arhats can still be fooled. Okay, so that's why in terms of Hinayana, I highly recommend you want to learn my Hinayana thing. Go to Thailand. Highly recommend it. Okay, and they have a council. I know briefly about it. I met the head guy from the Thai council, and I said, yeah, he's a fourth arhat for sure, and he has spiritual penetrations as well, and so forth. Okay, so these people are for real folks. Okay? They're worthy of our offerings. Okay, I would not hesitate to make offerings to them. Okay, and the Supreme Patriarch is this great monk here, Ratana Kusin. Okay, since 2017 and so forth. Look how young he is. Young looking he is. Okay, and all right. So that's the Buddhism right there. If you are a believer in Hinayana, okay, and you say Mahayana is not for me, go to Thailand. I don't care, whoever you are. Okay, it's a great place to learn. Yes, sir. Yellow.
Be the more proper adjective. Corrupt.
Yeah, corrupt. More corrupt. Yeah. Thank you very much. All right. I stand corrected. I should be more corrupt. Okay, corrupted is not quite correct. Okay, all right. Yeah. So going back to our small world of Mahayana, because in the West right now, Master ShenGuang transmitted his knowledge of the sudden teaching to this country already. Okay, meaning that the fact, from a professional perspective, the people here are better recipients of that teaching than the people back in his country. That's a fact. Okay, no disrespect intended for the Taiwanese either. All right, so he had to go to this country, to the U.S., to transfer the sudden teaching Dharma door. Okay, so as Americans here, American has no color, skin color, by the way. As you can look around you, it's only hardly any white color skins here at all. You see? And that's a nature of American Buddhism. American Buddhism, people think American is like, it's mostly Caucasian. No, American is a mixed, thing, and that's what makes America superior in my mind, is that the ability to absorb and embrace everything. That is the spirit of Mahayana right there. Okay, so he had to go to this country, Master ShenGuang. Okay, brought this Chinese Mahayana to the U.S. In particular, he brought the Dharma door of the sudden teaching. Okay, sudden teaching meaning that, for those of you who are not familiar with this, sudden teaching meaning that with this teaching meaning you have to hear it, someone has to speak it. Okay, and when you hear this, when you read this, you can attain enlightenment suddenly. Okay, only in Mahayana can you have that. Okay, and so this the sixth Patriarch taught this method of sudden enlightenment, if you will. Okay, and so this Dharma door here actually has many access routes. It leads to that door called sudden enlightenment, but to get there has many pathways, if you will. All right? Questions? This is very important. This is a momentous moment in China when Great Master Bodhidharma went to China and decided, I'm going to teach Huike, Great Master Huike, this sudden teaching thing. And then Master Huike then transferred it to the third Patriarch, who transferred it to the fourth Patriarch, who transferred it to the fifth Patriarch, Master Hongren, who then transferred it, that certain teaching, to Master Huineng. And we'll find out a little bit later. All right? So this is very, very important. And by the way, okay, as Americans, okay, the mindset should be that we should be grateful to the Chinese for this gift. Because, it's a gift that will have tremendous consequences for us, our generation, as well our children's generation, and further down the road as well. Okay? This is very, very critical heritage that we are leaving behind. Okay, so that's why we since Master ShenGuang didn't really elaborate that much about this certain teaching when he taught this in how long ago? I don't remember. Anyone knows? He taught this. He explains the sutra. Explained the sixth Patriarch Sutra, and one of the popular explanations out there in Mahayana. A lot of people, Buddhists and non-Buddhists alike, would read up on his books. They find it very, very interesting, very insightful. And but he never really elaborated that much on the certain teaching, which is what Venerable Huineng specialized in doing. Okay, so we'll dwell more on that side. Right, number 8. And at the time, Buddhism was there in China already. Okay, but just like nowadays, just like typically what happens, that people studied books, studied scriptures, and did ceremonies. And so what is called very superficial cultivation. Okay, substance is what Mahayana is about. Okay, it's about the core, your heart. It's not about appearances, not about temples. It's not about fame, reputation. All right, go ahead, Korea. JMT.
Good morning from Korea.
Good
Master,
morning. Good afternoon to you too. Good morning there and good afternoon here.
Master, did Bodhidharma walk all the way on foot from India to China?
Not true. It's a myth. What actually happened, it sounded good, but what actually happened is that the Chinese would like you to believe that he walked, but it's not true. Actually what happened is he boarded a boat. He didn't swim either. And then he walked to Vietnam, that's true. Yeah. Monks couldn't ride horses. They can't ride horses. Only for pets, but not for riding. That's how they keep horses. Yes, go ahead. Flaming hair.
Master, this is more of a comment. There's a rapper I listened to, and he wrote a book, and Bodhidharma was mentioned, and that's where I got that from. He walked from India to China, and he actually mentioned Chan in the book, and then that Zen came from Chan, like the Japanese Zen. So I thought that was pretty cool that
This is where a rap song.
So it's a rapper that got me into the Asian culture a long time ago.
Did I hear right? You listen to rap?
Not as much anymore.
Good for you. I'm open-minded, but there's certain things that I just can't stand. Just kidding, just kidding. All right, very good. Yes, Wei Mountain. Oh, God. I always get in trouble when I joke too much.
Master, where did Bodhidharma went to Vietnam?
In Vietnam? Oh,
Yes.
my province, Hue. Definitely. Central Vietnam. No hesitation, no doubt. Yes, over here, black.
So it is the tradition story that Bodhidharma came to China. Well, actually, while he was in China, he traveled. Well, no, sorry. I think when he came to China, he came by a piece of leaf and then
No.
went across the water, right?
No. You Chinese, a nice try. No. You're distorting the fact. You China person. No, you can't. You can't sneak that in. No.
I think
He boarded a boat,
I think
a Viking boat.
Yeah, it was quoted as an example of you actually can show spiritual power as a Chan master to teach people.
When he was in China, he did cross a river on a leaf.
Oh yeah, that's
It's
what's
true.
in the China.
See,
Yeah.
your Chinese history is so mixed
I
up.
saw it's Indian Ocean. I guess I got it
Not
wrong.
in,
It's the
Indian Ocean
river.
is an ocean, it's
It's
not
a
a river,
river.
my dear.
Yeah.
Okay, get your Chinese facts straight, please. All right. Yeah, he did cross. Actually, that's very famous. There are plenty of drawings of him on a leaf.
Yeah.
Floating
Oh,
on
I think
water.
that's when
That's how they showed off. Like
that's
the
when
Chinese,
he,
they show off.
he came from the north when after he talked with Liang Wudi and then he pissed off Liang Wudi and then he left the northern China to go to southern China. I think
Yeah.
that's where the story of the one leaf crossed the river.
Yeah, he crossed a river and on a leaf. That's true. Okay, and not clear on how propelled him. Okay. All right, but it's true that he did cross water on a leaf. That's pretty impressive. Okay, and so he was actually pretty desperate, looking for someone. So, anyone, please, who wants to learn Mahayana from me? Take it off my hands. Okay, and the Chinese, no, you're too black. I mean, your skin too dark. We don't trust you. So he really struggled, and finally he found a yellow soul. A Chinese soul, who took it from him. Okay, and we're grateful for that. My point here is that in all due respect, okay, I personally am grateful to the Chinese culture. I feel it's because when great Master Bodhidharma transferred the Mahayana to China, he really the Chinese Buddhism that I learned, Mahayana Buddhism I learned, is tremendous. It's so profound. It's so beautiful, so wonderful. And it's a gift to the world, really. You should transcend the national barriers and races and genders and so forth, because this Buddhism here is, to me, it's beauty. It's just like you look at a piece of art. To me, it's like that. You look at a statue of Rodin, or what's the guy who lost his ear, cut his ear to give to a prostitute girlfriend? Van Gogh, okay? Those things are just beautiful. I mean, look at that and say, wow, yeah. You know, it makes you feel good in your heart, you know? It's not the visual thing. It's just you look at it, yeah. I mean, it connects from that painting to your heart directly, okay, through the stomach. But so I'm grateful. I don't know about you. I'm so grateful to the Chinese Buddhism, because what we got from them, what I got from Master ShenGuang, is so beautiful. The first time in my life, after I learned Mahayana, I said, wow, this is wonderfully beautiful. Okay? Mahayana helps you appreciate beauty, Yes, was there a question somewhere? Oh, wait a minute.
Master, what is the meaning behind Venerable Bodhidharma living on the leaf? Because this has been thousands of years and there's a lot of painting about it.
Meaning of him what?
Living across the river by one leaf.
I have no idea. Okay. When I'm able to do that, I will explain it to you. And don't hold your breath. Okay? You Vietnamese people are weird. You know, I'm just talking about the depth and the beauty of Mahayana. He says, let's go back to floating on a leaf across the river. What's beautiful about that? To me, it's Indian show-off. Okay? We're talking about beautiful Chinese people. Chinese things. Okay? And Taiwanese too. Yeah. It's so difficult nowadays, to not offend one and please the other. Anyway, so this sutra here, it's about the emphasis of sutra here is actually about cultivation. In order to learn about the certain teaching here, you need to grind it out first. You need to bear the discomfort and keep grinding, and when you're ready, that's when the certain teaching is bestowed upon you, and boom, you leap. Okay? Any questions? Okay, and this is a function. The certain teaching is a function of the responsibility of the great teachers, and in a way, to be fair, Master ShenGuang did transmit the certain teaching to his disciples, but low level, certain teaching. All right, and you pay attention to how he explained the Sixth Patriarch Sutra. You find that yes, there's some allusions to certain teaching when Master ShenGuang explained it, but he didn't really go into greater depths. So hopefully we add more to it. This is important because remember, okay. What I call American Mahayana is hardly by the skin color. Okay, look at us. The Asians are taking over Silicon Valley. Let's face it. All right. Okay. The Koreans, they have no sense of humor. These poor Koreans. A long way to go. All right. So jewel is this Dharma that is precious. Jewel is when you hear jewel or gem, that's of great value. It's highly desirable, and it's so Chinese to me. To me, I would prefer for us Americans to look at the beauty of the Dharma. The Dharma is beautiful. The Dharma, I assure you, if you understand the Dharma, you see the beauty. What kind of beauty? Estee Lauder, Lancome? No, beauty of people's heart. The heart, you cut it up, can be very beautiful when you look at it. Not with the knife. Okay? People's heart. When you get to recognize, you get to see them, people's heart is so beautiful. And yesterday I was playing with a kid, a naughty kid. Okay? And it's amazing. I tell you this. I was playing with a kid, and I was teaching him at the same time. I was teaching the kid about emotions. And yesterday, he was playing, and he tripped, and he fell on his butt, the right butt. So he was he was gathering himself up and then touching his butt and he was deciding, should I cry now or or what? I'm entitled to cry, am I not? And as he was thinking, I laughed at him. I made fun of him. And he immediately got the message. I see, this is so embarrassing. How could I fall like this? So he hid behind he ran away and hid immediately. Okay? And so kid's heart can be so beautiful too, you know. Anyway, the jewel here, to me, it's not the gem like a Chinese people would like. The Asians would like to think, you know, the Indians are into gold, Chinese are into jade, okay? Girls are into diamonds, I heard. And I'm into Vajra. Okay, Vajra is beautiful. Okay, but primarily it's the heart that interests me about this Mahayana here, and the heart here is the heart of Mahayana, the heart of Master Huineng in particular, is precious, it's rare, and to me it's sublime. All right. Platform. Apparently on slide number 10, platform is the place where the sutra is spoken is Nanhua, okay, in that famous temple there. They build a platform like here, about 10 feet. One Texini, how tall is this when you build this? You remember? How tall is this? Not even 31 inches. Okay, and the platform is a place, a revered place, pure place where they did important things in Buddhism to transmit the precept substance from the heart, from master to your heart. That's what it happens, and then they speak the Dharma to shape the heart. Okay, and that's called Buddhist plastic surgery. All right? Seriously, they knew about plastic surgery back then already. All right, 11. Sutra is anything that's spoken by the Buddha to teach us about cultivation. Sutra here has a meaning like to attract. It's the logic, the beauty of the teaching, the superior intellect, the superior wisdom is very attractive to most of us, and is designed to give us directions on how to what? The Chinese would like to say to cultivate. I don't think of cultivation. I'm thinking Sutra is teaching us how to live our lives to the fullest. Whether you're a left-home person or a lay person, okay? Sutras are supposed to do that. Supposed to teach us how to live, okay? Be happier with our lives, okay? And when you're happy, okay, you share it with your family. You share it with your students. You share with your co-workers. Okay, in particular, this way of practice here is in accord or consistent with the intent of the Buddhas and the wisdom of the Buddhas. All right, so this sutra here is very special because it is the first time in Chinese Buddhism. And I don't know if it happened in Indian Buddhism or not, but in Chinese Buddhism it's the only time that the sutra was recorded, and the teaching was recorded and classified as a sutra when it was spoken by a Chinese monk, not the Buddha. Okay, so it's very, very special. It's really a treasure to the Chinese. Okay, so we should be grateful here in our era, us here in this country, that we're able to receive this as a gift from the Chinese. Okay, you need to give credit where it's due. So we need to be grateful to the Chinese kindness and generosity via Master ShenGuang. Okay? All right, at least I am grateful. I don't know about you. Okay, so when he explains sutras, we go through the Tiantai school of general analysis to give us an overview of what to expect from the sutra. So we explain the names, and according to that, the Tiantai school, there's a sutra, is by the title, it refers to a person, and the Dharma, analogy, and a place, and so forth. Blah blah blah. You can look it up. I'm not interested in these things. It's too Tiantai for me. And discriminating as the substance is talk about real mark as substance, and the real mark here is a very advanced concept for enlightened people, and this is the distinctive characteristics for Chinese Buddhism. Okay, real mark is by definition, real mark is no mark, but nothing is without mark. Okay, 实相无相，无不相 is the Chinese thing that I memorized. Couldn't understand it 25 years ago. Okay, that's all you have to do. Memorize it. No mark, but nothing without mark. That is real mark. All right. Yes, yellow.
Master, just a quick question. Is it possible that the sixth patriarch is a reincarnation of Shakyamuni Buddha?
No, he's Vietnamese. I'm glad you asked. We hear this a lot. My late Vietnamese master said, I have proof. I've written a book on how the sixth patriarch is Vietnamese. I said, oh, I know you want to live in your temple, so I'm not going to disagree with you. So is he reincarnation of the Buddha? In my humble opinion, I feel he's a Buddha. Okay, because he's deaf. My teacher is Chinese, and his level is very, very high. Okay, but when you look at his teachings, the way he taught his disciples, see, he taught me 3 times directly in person, and the other time is like I hear, I go crazy like flaming hair. Yeah, there we go again. We wouldn't believe it. Yesterday I taught me about 5, 6 different emotions. He picked them just like that. Oh no, now he has a companion. All right, so is he a Buddha? I feel that he's a Buddha because the teaching is so profound, so beautiful, you will. Okay, but I don't think he's Shakyamuni Buddha at all. Okay, because that would be a bad precedent. And the Buddha came, he left, and he came back again. Say what? He has nothing else to do? I mean, it's like, if you leave, please go. Don't come back. To me, it's just like, doesn't make sense. It's no point being so sticky. And the Buddha come and go, and let the next Buddha come. Give him a chance, So, no, you guys are too sticky. No, I hope it's not Shakyamuni Buddha, but I don't know. Because you asked me about state of Buddha, wrong person to ask. Okay, ask something I know, not something I don't know. Okay, what is the principle here? Okay, to become a Buddha. All of us can become a Buddha. Okay, message: don't sell yourself short. no discrimination. Okay, so that's anyone can become a Buddha. That's why now is our chance. Okay, we don't have to go to China anymore. Although, if you want to learn Tai Chi, I still feel you still need to go to China, Wudang. Okay, I would go to Wudang for about a year or two. I would love to go there and learn. I hear, speaking of walking on leaves, I hear the walk on walls. I saw a demonstration. He actually walk on walls. I was so impressed. I said, wow. Anyway, so you can realize Buddhahood. You can. All of us can. Okay? No one exam. Even the lady back there who's half asleep, she can too. The certain teaching is that we can all become a Buddha just like that. That she must have to cross her legs. Just kidding. It's a requirement. You think it's free? We have to work for it. The function is to understand the mind and see your own nature. Here, understanding the mind is very interesting. You get to see how mind works, your mind, how your mind works. And once you understand how your mind works, you begin to be able to see how in's minds works. You see? All right? And the teaching mark is, oh God, this is so scholarly. Sutra like Sweet Dew, Heavenly Elixir, Immortality, so Chinese. I don't like these concepts because it makes you greedy. It like makes you so special. I'm listening to Sixth Patriarch Sutra. Hello, Mama, from China. I'm glad you made it. The last time I saw you in Wei Mountain Temple. Oh, okay. 谢谢。不客气。This not only is it beautiful, but it's very tasty. You can taste, that has to be real. When you listen to the sutra, and so every now and then you might get to the state where actually when you swallow, your saliva is kind of sweet. That's a sweet dew right there. It happens. All right? And teaching period is this happened during the Dharma flower, Knowledge Nirvana period, and then so forth. Okay, all right. Any questions? I'm not, as you have noticed by now, I'm not interested in scholarly things. I'm just like this raw and limited person. I'm more interested in something that's a beautiful, tasty, and that kind of thing. You will have my interest. But scholarly things, I leave it to the PhD people. All right. 5 Chinese patriarchs. Okay. Now you should know about. Okay. That's how Chinese Buddhism started to take root in China. This is important because we need to know for our generation, how are we going to make these American Mahayana take root? Okay, we are right now, I'm my 2nd generation, you're a 3rd generation, so therefore it helps to go back to how it happened in China, okay, because we learned it from a Chinese anyway. Okay. And so it's said from the Song Enlightenment, another famous Chinese creation by the 7th Patriarch, that he recognized Bodhidharma was the 28th Patriarch, okay, in that proper or orthodox line of Mahayana Buddhism, okay, and all the Indian prior patriarchs from 1 to 27 followed Bodhidharmas to, he brought all that Indian heritage from India to China and conferred upon the Chinese. So the Chinese inherited all that Indian wisdom, okay? And that's what is meant by transmitting the wisdom from India to China, okay? It became Chinese. The Chinese became the guardian of the Indian wisdom. And later on, after sixth patriarch, the Chinese Buddhism later on really prospered and blossomed. They produced many great talents, many great patriarchs that I feel that for us in our era, in our times, we should spend the time to learn Chinese and study these great Chinese teachers, because the depth of Mahayana, I keep on telling you this, is in the Chinese language, not in English yet. Okay? So if you want Mahayana wisdom, deeper wisdom, higher level wisdom, you have to learn Chinese. Okay? Any questions about that? So you know where to look for materials and where to look for in terms of great teachers. It's not, the Chinese teachings, patriarch teachings, are actually much higher level than here. That's available in English. That's a fact. Okay, so for you, those of you out there who feel that you understand Mahayana, I strongly urge you to learn Chinese, because you should go back to the Chinese teachers. Okay, and in the future, I hope you translate that teaching from Chinese into English. Okay, in order to do that, you have to learn Chan. Chan is a requirement. Okay. Without Chan, you cannot have the proper translation. And you find in the sutra that we use an old version of my master's disciples' translation, and it has quite a few things that missed the mark completely. Okay, and so there are some significant patriarchs. Mahakasyapa, don't have much teaching of him. Ananda, and then the second patriarch, 14th patriarch, very famous. There were Nagarjuna. Nagarjuna. How do you say it? Have flaming hair? How?
Master, I don't know, but not
What?
Nagarjuna.
Oh no.
I tried.
Never mind. Go. Stay there. Don't. Okay. And then Nagarjuna, and then Vasubandhu is another famous Indian patriarch. Next, 15. Bodhidharma, we're talking about Bodhidharma. He is a prince of a kingdom in southern India. King was a devout Buddhist. It shows right there. If your parents are Buddhists, then you're bestowing great blessings to your children, because you give them exposure to the teaching of wisdom. Okay, so the conventional wisdom is that when you're born into a family as Buddhist, you are incredibly blessed, if you will. All right. Of course, there are always exceptions. But not only was the king was a Buddhist, he was a devout Buddhist, and and he made offerings to the patriarch. So he have access to the 27th patriarch, okay? And he gave a priceless pearl to the patriarch, okay? Lesson number 2, you have to make offerings to the patriarchs, to the great teachers, okay? So this king here, not only was he devoted to Buddhism, meaning he helped propagate Buddhism, he also made a lot of offerings, supported the great teachers, the patriarchs, okay? And because of that, his children have tremendous blessings, okay? And so this is very special family. So when he offered a priceless pearl to the 27th Indian patriarch, he showed the pearl, the patriarch showed the pearl to the 3 princes, son of the king, and asked, anything more valuable than this pearl that I just received? And the 2 older princes said, pearl is the most precious in our kingdom, and there's nothing better in the world. I'm very proud of it. 16. The 3rd prince, the youngest one, was Bodhidharma, who was later became Bodhidharma, said, this was worldly pearl is not the most precious thing. It is among all the gems in the world, the truth is the supreme jewel. Okay? So Indian. Okay? But back then, as a young prince, he valued the truth already. Okay, he felt the truth was a treasure that should be cherished, not gems and jewels. Okay, and the prince continue. He says this worldly luster cannot be considered to be finest. Okay, the light. The brightness, the light that's most precious is from the light of wisdom. And the pearl, even though has lucidity, but the lucidity of the mind is the most desirable. Okay, so the young prince answer is really outstanding, and so it showed that this young man here had potential to be taught. Okay, and that's what great teachers recognize. They recognize people who say, "Who can be taught? Who would be worthy of my efforts?" Yes, go ahead, Yellow.
Master, regarding the pronunciation of Nagarjuna, Anthony heard from a disciple, it's pronounced Nagarjuna.
Nagarjuna.
That's what I heard from one of your disciples, I think.
Yeah, I remember vaguely. I just cannot remember which syllable to put the inflection on. So I thought it was from flaming hair, but it's not. It's from someone else.
Yeah, I think it's from someone else, yeah.
Yeah, someone else. It's clearly not flaming hair. Flaming hair is still. All right. And Bodhidharma said a lot of things that, Indians, they're wordy. And they talk too much. From a Chan perspective, if I were the 27th patriarch, which I'm not, I said, you talk too much, boy. So anyway, it clearly, this young prince here has a special mind. He's not impressed by worldly things. Okay, and that comes with It comes with prior blessings, if you will. If your children have blessings, they be drawn to things of wisdom. Okay? Instead of, they will not be impressed by the size of the temple. If I could influence you a little bit, we're not like the kings who has palaces and 3 princes and so forth, you know, and so forth. What we have is big hearts. Okay, so I'm not interested in what the young Bodhidharma had to say to his teacher. He's not enlightened back then, so it's a lot of nonsense, okay? But somehow the Indians were impressed, the Chinese were impressed, so they put this down, okay? To me, it's too wordy. It's too many words, okay? It's not Chan-like. And later, he became better, okay? So after the king father's death, the young prince became disciple and became a monk. Okay, so you see, that's right there again. The behavior of this person is similar to the Buddhas, Gautama Buddhas, where he was not impressed by worldly things, by luxury, by the worldly pleasures. Okay, he followed his teacher, and he served his teacher for 40 years until he died. Okay, another fact about great Bodhidharma is that he served his teacher. Okay, and that's one of the most beautiful things you can do to show gratitude. Okay, he showed the reason. He's a prince. Remember, he's used to being treated like the potential future king, future emperor. Therefore, he's supposed to be idolized and so forth. But no, he revered his teacher and became a monk to serve him for 40 years. And that's very, very impressive. Okay, and to me, there is no higher way, better way to express gratitude by taking care of your teacher. Okay, of a great teacher like him, and that's the one thing there that you can learn to spot children or people. Okay, the common denominator of these great people is that they know gratitude. It comes from the heart. Your heart is big. Your heart is full of gratitude. You don't always have to take. Okay? You can give. Okay? You give back to the people that did you great favors. Like your teacher, like your parents, like your ancestors, and so forth. Okay, that's what's special about the Asian culture. Okay, you teach gratitude by being grateful, not by talking about it. Okay, and so Bodhidharma served his master for 40 years. That's very impressive. Okay, until his master died, and his master asked him to go to China to bring Mahayana from India to China. So basically, name him as the 28th Patriarch. Okay, and when he came there, didn't speak Chinese at all. So the Chinese were very discriminatory. They look at him and say, "Your skin is too black, and your beard, you have a huge beard, and so they look down upon, they're scornful towards Venerable Bodhidharma. Okay, don't know why the Chinese would draw Bodhidharma bare-chested with a lot of hair. Do Indians have a lot of hair or not? Chest hair. They do? I never know that. Watch the movies? We're not watching the same movies. Is there a lot of dancing? Like, and they're talking, all of a sudden the man breaks down to dance and sing. Anyway, hairy chest. Why? Why would draw him like that? Anyway, and then 21. He met with the emperor of the Liang dynasty, Emperor Wu. This is a very famous interchange. Okay, hey, it's funny how so many children here today who are listening about these words of wisdom and have no clue what we're talking about. It's fantastic. It's called brainwashing. You know that? It's called Buddhist brainwashing. We bring on this hand, we put on. You can do the same thing at home, by the way. You turn on the tapes and let them play while they listen to all this thing we talk about. It's called brainwashing. In the future, they become a monk and with Patriarch as well. So Emperor Wu, who prided himself on being knowledge about Buddhism, he spoke to him. He said through an interpreter, of course, and who is that interpreter is probably, in my humble opinion, that interpreter probably an ancestor of our precious Chu Hong. You don't know Chu Hong, it doesn't matter, okay. So Emperor Wu says, in my entire life, I help a lot of monks and nuns become monks and nuns, because when you become monk and nuns, you need to have clothing, proper clothing. So he paid for their clothing, for the bowls, for the shoes, and so forth, okay. And he built monasteries for them. So he said, I've done all those, and have a lot of sutras copied, okay. And created a lot of Buddha images. Okay, and how much merit did I earn? Okay, and Bodhidharma says none, and it says good deeds done with greed, worldly intent. Okay, I would translate it as greed. Okay, he did all those to impress people. Okay, when you do good deeds to impress others, it's called worldly intent. It's self-serving, in other words. Okay, and so you're greedy for recognition. In other words, you're greedy for rewards. Okay, that's the wrong way to do good deeds. You should do good deeds because there's a chance to do it. That's all. When we have the chance to do something good, just do it, and then forget it. Okay? That's all. So Bodhidharma said, you did a good deed, but you bring good karma, but no merit. Okay? And the emperor then pursued. He says, what is the highest meaning? So he didn't like it, so he changed the topic, you see. The emperor's most convenient. We actually, after he heard the first answer, he says, no merit whatsoever. He says, you just lost an ear, boy. I mean, Indian guy. So he said, okay, but I'm going to be civil. He's a patriarch, supposedly. So I'm an emperor, so I need to show my civil side. So he said, he changed the subject. I said, he said, what is the highest meaning of the noble truth? Okay, see, it's very well read. Bodhidharma says, there's no noble truth. There's only emptiness. Okay, Bodhidharma actually by then was a little bit cautious, because he could tell that the emperor was not happy with him, and there's no point in offending him more than he needed to. So he said, there's no truth, there's only emptiness. Actually, he could have said from a Chan perspective, what is the highest meaning of noble truth? He could have said nothing. But no, he said, there's no noble truth, there's only emptiness. So you can tell he's scared. 23. And then the emperor again was stumped. He said, I can't pursue this, so let's give him one last chance. Who's standing before me? Okay, meaning Chen. Chen is Chinese for I'm better than you. You see? He says, I'm better than you. I'm nobility, and you are black. Dark skin, I mean. And the Bodhidharma says, I know not, Your Majesty. Okay. I know not. The proper translation should be changed to I cannot tell. Master Xianjie, don't just sit there, do something. I cannot tell. You see, the immediate answer is so beautiful. He says, 对症者谁? Who's in front of me? Can you change it, please? Who's in front of me? Okay? Who's facing me? Either one. Okay? And so the brutal answer from Bodhidharma, he meant in English is, I can't tell. All right? So after that, the emperor gave up. And he says, excuse me, I need to go take this phone call here. From Russia. So later, he had an advisor. Would you believe it's Zhigong? Zhigong is one of the wisest Chinese monks. And what is he doing advising this kind of emperor? Oh my goodness. When I got to this point here, I lost all respect for Zhigong. Because if you hang around this person who is thirsty for power recognition, who's so greedy, okay, the only way that you can help is yourself. Because that's how he sees you. Okay. If Zhigong is a true patriarch, a person of great wisdom, he says, I'm sorry, your master. Okay, I'm not worthy of your patronage. Here's the master at the DRBA. Go there. Okay. It's a personal thing for me because when I was growing up, when I was learning the way, Master ShenGuang spoke so highly of Master Zhigong, he has spiritual powers and so forth. When I got to this point here, I said, what are you doing advising this emperor? So he's this way because you advise him? So he's your creation. He's a product of your training, right? So I would run. Okay, that's why Chư Cung is, out. So Chư Cung says, Your Highness still don't recognize per person. 陛下还是此人否? They don't recognize this person, okay? And the emperor says, I don't. And Chư Cung says, this is Guan Yin transmitting a Buddha's mind seal. Okay? So Chư Cung says Bodhidharma actually is Guan Yin. So clearly, Guan Yin has nothing else to do. But we have so many bodhisattvas. And Guan Yin says, let me bring my yan from India to China. The rest of you can go on vacation, go to the Bahamas, or take a hike, something. Let me do it for you. So the rest of bodhisattvas, so we don't get a chance to create blessings for ourselves. Okay? So I don't know about this Chư Cung guy here. Okay? In all due respect to the Chinese and Taiwanese people. And so the emperor heard that this is a sage, so he was he had second thoughts and tried to send his boy to ask the Venerable Bodhidharma to backtrack and come back so that he can make offerings and support him. And Chư Cung says, no, don't bother. Even if the entire nation goes, all our people go, okay, he still wouldn't come back. Okay, so he says, 盖我人去. She says, even if we all go, okay, he still would not come back, not return, would come back. All right, and so this is a story, a transmission from India, of Mahayana from India to China. So Venerable Bodhidharma went to Nanjing, listened to Dharma ShenGuang speak Dharma, and back then it's typical, as typical as it is nowadays. People speak Dharma without wisdom. They spoke words. They didn't teach from the wisdom, but from regurgitating the technical jargon. But even for just doing so, the heavens rain fragrant blossoms, and golden petaled lotus rose from earth. Okay, so he's a extraordinary Dharma master, to the point where the heavens were making offerings to him. And so Bodhidharma stopped by, listened to his lecture, and he waited for everyone to leave, and cornered Dharma Master ShenGuang and asked him, what are you doing? And ShenGuang says, I am explaining sutras, can't you tell? And he says, why are you explaining the sutras? He said, the answer is to teach people to end birth and death. And Bodhidharma says, how does it happen? Okay, the words are black and white. How does black and white, things can end birth and death? And ShenGuang couldn't have an answer. And this is a lesson I learned. Do not offend the Chinese patriarchs, the Chinese Dharma masters. Okay? It's okay for you to offend me because I'm not Chinese. But this is a common protocol in that you don't you don't ask questions that Dharma masters cannot answer. Okay, please. But ShenGuang is have a little bit of temper. He got very upset, and he whipped out his beads, made of steels, okay, and whacked them. He says, "These are the words of the demons," and broke the 2 front teeth. So Bodhidharma has a new nickname, Leon Sphinx. Yeah. So, so whack him and say, "You the demon! How dare you embarrass me? How is a demon's work? You're doing demon's work." And so he broke his teeth because Bodhidharma didn't dodge at all. I remember, and up to this point, I remember that video of President Bush, the small one. He went to Afghanistan, someone threw a shoe at him. He went like this. He ducked, and he ducked in a funny way too. But Bodhidharma is like a true Indian patriarch. Stood there and lost 2 teeth. I hope he gets good dentist. Can you imagine we speak Dharma and then as we smile and the front of our mouth is black? Oh yeah. What was he thinking? I would have ducked myself like little Bush. And Bodhidharma, apparently, according to Chinese, the Chinese wisdom, he says there's a legend where if the chaste tooth fall to the earth, it would not rain for 3 years. That's probably what happened here in California. So Bodhidharma says that would harm a lot of people. So I better take the pain and suffering. Instead of letting bad things happen to the Chinese people, although they deserve it. So the tooth fell out, and so he swallowed it. Okay, and then he went away. Okay, and then according to Master ShenGuang, yes, did you have a comment? Black, white, red? That video person, audio person, he's like in a trance. He's yeah, red.
Yeah, so my question is, by swallowing the teeth, it solved the problem, so it will rain for 3 years, or it solved that problem, or?
No, it wouldn't rain for 3 years.
Wouldn't rain for 3 years?
You need the dragon's intervention. Okay. But at least there won't be a drought for 3 years, because if he let the teeth fall to the ground, they would have a drought for 3 years. So there would be no drought for next because of that. Okay, so he swallowed them and disappeared. Okay, so according to Master ShenGuang, I remember this part. Master ShenGuang then said immediately right after that, and please take it with a grain of salt. He's not here, so we don't know. There's lots of things, folks, I wish I were there because I have so many questions. I'm not like a typical American who are, very afraid of Master ShenGuang. I would have asked him, Great Master, really? I mean, I hit the thing and all of a sudden the Venerable ShenGuang was supposed to die right away? You buy that or not? I find it's too much a coincidence. What's the rationale for that? You believe or not? When I read that story, I said, seriously? You hit someone and broke 2 teeth. I mean, Leon Spinks never, killed anyone because of that. No one died because of that. But there is a point to this story. Why did he die immediately? Because he inflicted harm on a great, great sage. Supposedly Guan Yin according to Kung, which I respectfully disagree. Okay? Guan Yin would never fight with the bodhisattvas, would not compete for blessings from bodhisattvas, I assure you. Okay? We have so many great bodhisattvas who are waiting, who are craving to bring Mahayana from India to China. Why would Guan Yin Bodhisattva steal those merit virtues from them? Think about it. It just doesn't make sense to me. Okay. Anyway, so what happened is this monk here, this monk here, ShenGuang, okay, injured a great sage. For that mere fact there, he supposed to fall to the Avicii hell, the worst hells there is. Just for that. That's how serious it is. Okay, and therefore, it's perfectly reasonable to say that he's supposed to die right away because you know how big of a name Bodhidharma was. Then he deserves to die immediately because it's very serious offense. So he's supposed to die. So 2 ghosts came and said, "Our boss, King Yama, would like to have a word with you," which is the underworld word for, okay, it's time for you to go. Okay, and Bodhidharma said, the ShenGuang says, "Why? I'm so young, in the prime of my life. Can I have some more time?" He said, "Nope, your time is up." Just like that? I said, "Yep." So ShenGuang says, "What did I do? What did I do?" And he said, "You don't know? You broke the 2 front teeth of a great sage. That's why." And so ShenGuang says, "Oh, I didn't know. If I knew, I would have not done it." The ghost says, "Not my problem." Okay, let's go. And ShenGuang got on his knees, I think, and then begged to the ghost. He said, "Look at me. I'm the Dharma master. You're the ghost. I beg to you. Give me some time so that I learn from this monk a little bit so that my life would not have been in vain." Okay? And so the ghost must be high-ranking ghost. He says, "Okay, I'm not seeing that you are sincere. I'll allow you a little bit of time. Go and look for that monk and do your thing. We'll wait a little bit for you." So ShenGuang ran after Bodhidharma. By that time, okay, Bodhidharma was walking towards the south. Yes, he went south. Is it south? No, that's 6th Patriarch. You confused. So he went somewhere. And he passed by a house where there's a bird. It's kept in a cage, a bird cage. Okay. And the bird recognized Bodhidharma and said, somehow this bird recognized Bodhidharma as a sage. So the bird asked him, mind from the west, teach me a way to escape from his cage. Flaming hair, can you do it in a more birdie kind of way? Try your best. Bird language now. Very good, yeah. One more time. Second version. Unmute it. Hey, Korea, unmute it. Can't hear you.
Matt, can you hear me?
Okay, now. Yeah.
Master.
Go. Okay.
Mount from the west, please teach me how to escape from this cage.
And Bodhidharma immediately replied, okay, that's fine, a new voice. Chinese person there. Huh? So Bodhidharma replied, to escape from the cage. Put out both legs, close both eyes. This is the way to escape from the cage. Okay, spoke bird language. That's what the bird did. And the owner thought the bird was dead, so opened the cage and tried to take the body out, but the bird flew out. Okay, so that's how the bird escaped. Okay, the great escape, if you will, great bird escape. So anyway, the story, legend has that ShenGuang ran after Bodhidharma and went all the way to Bear's Ear Mountain in Luoyang and sat down facing a wall that's right behind the future Shaolin temple. Okay, and ShenGuang knelt close by, behind him, apparently for 9 years. And when I read this, I said, 9 years? How can you do that for 9 years? But anyway, so he sat for 9 years, and first question is, what are bathroom breaks? So they sat behind Master Bodhidharma for 9 years, and Bodhidharma ignored him completely, didn't talk to him for 9 years. Okay? And ShenGuang never gave up. It's a test. It's a test. And test of sincerity. Okay? And one day, after 9 years, ShenGuang never dared bother Bodhidharma. If you were there and begging for instruction, you don't want to nag him. You know, Jun, you hear? You don't want to nag. Okay? I would not nag. Okay? For something important, I would not nag. One day, Bodhidharma asked him a question. This is very important. There's a protocol here. You would kneel behind, you ask for a favor, you ask once, and you wait, okay? You don't nag, and then so he waited for 9 years. This is beautiful. This is so beautiful of a story to me, okay? It is so important to you. He said, how do I end birth and death? Venerable Master, teach me how to end birth and death. All right? You don't text him to death. Okay? You ask once, how can I end birth and death? And then you kneel down and you wait. You can do anything you like. You can, but you don't nag him anymore. Her timing is always perfect. So after 9 years, interestingly, this is so remarkable about Venerable ShenGuang. I'm impressed by that. That for us, in my era, waiting for 9 years behind him like that is total nonsense. It's sheer nonsense. I don't know about you. I cannot do this. No way. It doesn't make sense to me. Okay? That's why I'm glad ShenGuang did it for us. Thank you, China. And after 9 years, so it's like, interestingly, it's like a delay. How do I end birth and death? Okay? And Venerable Bodhidharma didn't say anything for 9 years. Ignore him completely, and the guy would not go away. So after 9 years, Bodhidharma said, "You still here? What's the matter with you?" I said, "I'm waiting for the answer." He said, "I will answer you when the snow becomes red." Okay? So ShenGuang got so upset that he took out a knife and cut his left arm, right arm. This is what I don't remember. Is it left arm, right arm? Okay. I am right-handed. I think I would take my left arm, cut my right arm. It shows more, it's more emphatic. So in this movie of mine, you take this knife here, this probably has not been sharpened yet, and you hack away your arm. So anyway, so it finally cut off and fell to the ground, and the snow became red. So he scooped up some red snow tainted with blood, corrupt with blood, and so, great master, hey, the snow, there's red snow. The snow has become red. And now, Master ShenGuang says, Venerable ShenGuang was so upset, he had a temper, so he cut his arm off to show him. He's probably right. I would never disagree with my Chinese teacher. Okay? Yeah. Ching. So Bodhidharma is impressed, and they say, you are a pretty tough cookie. So it is. He says, wow, you tough, so you tough. Okay? Ru shu, right? So it is, ru shu. You so tough, so am I. Okay? You crazy, so am I. He says, you are worthy to be my student. Okay? So I will teach you. I teach you what I know. Okay? And so my wait has not been in vain. Imagine this guy, this great teacher, has been looking for a descendant, for a successor for a long time. He saw it in Venerable ShenGuang, but still put him through the test. Okay? A lot in Buddhism is about enduring the test. Okay? And that's called what? What is that called? Gradual teaching. The tests are gradual teaching. You see that? That's how Mahayana was transmitted from India to China. Gradual teaching for 9 years. So he sat there, he knelt behind him for 9 years. So every day he said, oh, my legs hurt. It hurts so much. What am I doing here? What am I doing here? I can't even tell my mother about this. She doesn't want me to become a monk in the first place. Now I have to tell her I'm leaving behind this dark-skinned monk who cannot speak a single word of Chinese. And when he decides to teach me, what are we gonna use? Google Translate? You see, you have so many issues there that's unresolved, okay? And yet he knelt. And Bodhidharma didn't talk to him, he didn't dare ask, okay? So part of the teaching is you need to go through hardship because that's part of your gradual training. Don't expect shortcuts. You say, tell me the best thing. Give me the certain teaching right away. Okay? No, you have to pass the test. You have to go through the gradual training first, and then there's a final test where you actually have to cut off your arm. Is that a question you asked? Do you have to cut off your arm? Yes.
I have a question. It's probably
Another question?
a little bit random. It's associated with what you just talked about, the conversation between ShenGuang and Bodhidharma. Like, I'm curious back then what kind of language they are using when they communicate with each other. Do they speak Chinese or do they speak Indian language? How did they communicate with each other?
What did I tell you? I will forgive you this one time. You never ask a question I cannot answer.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay, don't do it again. Next question. How do I know? I wasn't there. But if I have to lie to you, okay, how did they communicate? That's a good question. You see, you're so lucky. I am so lenient. Because I had the same question too. I said, the guy didn't speak Chinese and the other guy didn't speak Indian. How could they talk? Slow, red, and all those things is a lot of vocabulary. Come on. I'm missing something here. Yes, old monk.
A Di Đà Phật. Cái việc làm của người thánh nhân đó thì chúng ta không có bàn được. Nhưng mà nãy chúng ta thấy Ngài nói chuyện với con chim. Tại sao con chim biết mà liên lạc với Ngài mà hiểu mà làm? Thì ở đây cũng mình có người làm chứng như cô Diệu Nga nè. Khi cô ngồi thiền, cô thấy Đức Phật Di Đà mặc áo vàng. Thì cô vừa nghĩ thôi. Tại sao Đức Phật mặc áo vàng mà sao? Thì Đức Phật trả lời là khi nào con chết mới mặc áo đỏ. Thì hai bên nói bằng tư tưởng thôi. Thì cũng như năm 76 con ở trong tù, con niệm Phật thì 3 tháng sau Đức Phật tới cũng vậy. Lấy y trùm cho con dẫn đi thì con nói trong ý bằng tiếng Việt thôi. Thì Ngài cũng trả lời với mình bằng cái tiếng Việt. Nhưng mà tự động mình nghe mình hiểu. Đó là cách người ta liên lạc với mình. Thế sao mà Ngài không trả lời bằng tiếng Hoa, tiếng Anh mà Ngài trả lời với con bằng tiếng Việt? Tại sao trả lời con chim nó hiểu? Thì trong Kinh Quan Nghiêm cũng nói vậy, Đức Phật thì có rất là nhiều cách để mà chúng sanh nghe cái âm thanh Phật mà tùy loại mà hiểu. Phát thanh như vậy con rồng nó hiểu khác mà
No comprende.
Con bò nó hiểu khác.
Okay, let's Master ShenGuang translate this important message.
Master, whatever the sagely people did, we cannot talk about it. But earlier we went through the story that the patriarch talked to the bird. Actually, the bird asked a question, and then the patriarch gave it the instruction, and then the bird understand. And then another story is YongHua, when she meditated and she saw Amitabha Buddha appear wearing a yellow robe, and she, in her mind, arise a question, like why Amitabha Buddha wear a yellow robe? And suddenly an answer came to her mind, like, wait until you die, that's when I will wear a red robe. So the Buddha can communicate through the mind. And the same thing, like in 1976, when I was in the prison, and then in my dream, I saw Buddha appear, and then I have a question. I had a question in my mind, and then suddenly the Buddha answered me using the Vietnamese. He didn't use Chinese or English or whatever. He used Vietnamese to help me to understand. So in the sutra, Avatamsaka Sutra, say that the Buddha has a lot of different ways to communicate to help beings understand.
You get that? You buy that? Yes. You believe anything, do you? When you think in what language? You think in Chinese, yes? You think in Vietnamese or English? English, okay. But you're Vietnamese, right? Okay, Vietnamese Chinese. Her mother is Vietnamese Chinese. Okay, so you have Chinese here, English here. Xiao Tai, when you think, what do you think? In what language do you use?
Chinese and English.
Chinese and English. Half Chinese, half English. Very good. Okay? You see? What happened is that the thinking, do you really think it's in Chinese or English? How come she thinks in English? How come you think in Chinese? Before you verbalize it, right? When you think, well, Chinese, and in would say, so these are thoughts. How come she hears herself as in Chinese and she hears herself as English? Why? My master, when I was a novice and I was supposed to train to sit sleep, okay, and I hated it. Say, we suffer all day, ate one meal a day, and we can't even sleep in comfort. What kind of nonsense is this? So I really struggled with that concept, having to sit sleep, and I tried 2 years unsuccessfully. Okay, and then one night in Long Beach Monastery, after 2 years, okay, I was sleeping. I started as usual with sitting, and then eventually I slide down slowly, and lean against the wall, and then pretty soon you unbuckle a little bit, a little bit, very slow motion, and eventually, like that. No, not even. Actually, he's listening to our lecture, seriously? He's not even playing his kids out there? And one night, I was doing that like every single night, okay? And one night, I heard Master ShenGuang's voice, okay? He said, get up! Cross your legs! He's screaming at me, seriously. And I immediately jumped up, crossed my legs, without thinking. I was so scared. I never saw him that angry. I always have this, the last time I saw him, he was dying, okay? He was on his deathbed. He said, oh, I love you, you are all so good, you're such a wonderful student and so forth, okay? But never been that angry before, okay? I was so scared, I immediately crossed my legs and sat the rest of the night in full lotus. And right after that, I could easily sit in full lotus every single night. Okay? And the instruction he gave me was in. I call you. I'm looking at her, but I'm calling your name. In. It's the first time you attend my sutra lecture. Can I make use of you as a prop? After 10 years, he finally attended my sutra lecture the first time. Is that right? You never attended my lecture. I didn't count, not until today. Exactly.
I think he spoke in English.
He spoke in English. Okay. Why?
It's more direct. I think that's all I could think of.
Because I think in English. I don't think in Vietnamese. I think in English. Unless I talk to Vietnamese, and then I think in Vietnamese. But typically, when I talk to normal people, non-Vietnamese, I think in English. But when I talk to the old monk, then I switch to Vietnamese in my thoughts, just like you. Just like the boy. What happened to him now? Okay? So the point here is that if Master ShenGuang can talk to me in English to make sure I understood, because that's my pattern. Unless you're Vietnamese, I only think in English. So in order to teach me, he used English to make sure I got the message immediately. No interpretation, no translation. Yes, Green?
Is it really he spoke English, or
Yes.
it's just your mind translated?
I heard his voice,
Okay.
that anger. I am traumatized for the rest of my life. And as I just think about, revisit that moment, I'm still shaking right now. It's how scary. He's violent. That's when I first learned about violence. It's okay to be violent towards your disciples. Okay? Yes? So the point here is that here's what happens. Your thought has no language. Thoughts have no language. For example, when I taught that boy yesterday, the troublemaker, about shame on you. Okay? When he was about to cry, you remember, he fell on his butt, his right butt, and he got up and he was going like this, and he's about to cry. And I laughed and and so I said, shame on you, and he immediately got the message. Okay? That right there, when I taught him right there, I taught him about shame, okay? It's not in English at all. It's not in Chinese at all. He does not understand Chinese. I only taught him about this conscious thought called shame. And he got it right away. He stood up and he didn't cry. He stopped. He's about to cry. So I immediately tested him and said, you should be ashamed instead of crying. So immediately he said, yeah, I'm not going to cry. So he ran over there and he hit himself. Okay? So the communications had no language. He got it. And so yesterday I was playing with him. I taught him 5 different emotions. And he got them all. So the thought in communication has no language. But you add another layer on top of yourself because you need to talk to your thinking mind. So that's why you translate it internally, your wiring, it translated from that thought language, which is pure thoughts, into English, Chinese, excuse me. Taiwanese or Chinese? Chinese, Mandarin. Okay? Whereas that one there is English. Okay? So that's why, that's how they could communicate. It turns out, by the way, for important lessons, important teachings, you cannot afford to be distracted by languages. So I'm sure that Bodhidharma, Venerable Bodhidharma, when he wanted to teach ShenGuang, he could talk to him directly through his mind, and ShenGuang could understand. Okay, and this is the storytelling where Master ShenGuang would explain it to us in Chinese, and we translate it into English. So it's for our understanding, but for them, it's direct, very direct, mind to mind, if you will. Okay? Just like you. Venerable Bodhidharma sent him a thought, okay? Talked him in thoughts, and ShenGuang would translate that thought into Chinese, if you will. That's what happened. Does it help? Yes. Okay, just remember, no more questions today. But the old monk is correct. He's right, but he did. You understand that's exactly. The first layer is thought, language. Thought has no language. Thought is just thought. When you do mind, you're able to read mind like Venerable Bodhidharma, okay? You can read people's mind. That has no language, okay? He can read your mind, her mind. Your mind is in Chinese, her mind is in Vietnamese, and his mind, God knows what language, we don't know, okay? So it doesn't matter at all. So the first layer is thought. Thought is thought. And then next layer is language. All right? That's how it works. Next. So this gradual teaching that Bodhidharma did for ShenGuang spanned 9 years. It's very important. Okay? Do not expect immediate results like we in our era are accustomed to. Instant gratification. It takes time. Okay? It takes time to prepare. It takes time to let the wine mature properly. You cannot rush it. Even soy sauce needs to be matured naturally. Is that clear? Or fish sauce, for that matter. Go ahead, Wei Mountain.
Master, when that baby yesterday you played, that he fall down, did you read his mind?
Yes. Now you mentioned it. Now you brought it up. Yes. Oh, what a stupid question. Of course I did. I mean, occasionally, because yesterday I finally found my soulmate, a mischievous mind. That boy was causing trouble all afternoon for 4 hours when we were here. The small gathering is all like 5, 6 of us gathered together and talking and telling us stories and so forth. The boy was, creating mischiefs after mischiefs and so forth. I said, this boy sounds like my kind of soulmate. So it intrigued me. So I was starting to say, I started paying attention to what he was going through his mind. How does he create mischiefs? So I was more intrigued by that. Okay, so I was able to connect with him at that mischievous level. That's it. And you call it thought reading, mind reading, so be it. Guilty. Okay. So anyway, so Bodhidharma So the real question is now, how does he transmit the teaching, mind-to-mind teaching? This is very, very precise language. How is he going to teach something he does not understand the language or speak the language? Okay, I would not dare use the Chinese to teach you mind-to-mind, for example. Never, because my Chinese is horrible. Okay, but Bodhidharma decided to transmit the certain teaching. The Chandama door here. Okay? Translation for you. Chandama door here is certain teaching. Because he taught the Chandama door for 9 years already. The gradual Dharma door. Okay? Venerable ShenGuang saw how Bodhidharma was teaching him. Not by language, not by thoughts, but by what? By what? By what? Yes, Chinese person.
Tests.
Huh?
Tests.
No tests. Let's do Chinese. Anyone else? Yes, from the Philippines. You just want to make it sound so like we're so international. Yes.
By his behavior.
Not wrong. Philippines doesn't have it. Yellow, yes.
Emitofuo, he sat for 9 years as well.
Anyone else? Old monk. I'm sure the old monk wants to say something.
Ngồi cho Ngài Thần Quang.
Don't even translate. Green.
By let him suffer.
Pretty good. Not quite, but yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Excellent. And you are devious. I would be careful, if I were your husband. Anyone else? By doing. So, for example, this is just my imagination, okay? Please take it with a grain of salt. There's no proof. Don't ask me. How do you know? I was talking to a Korean person 2 nights ago, and she said, "Why are you so sure?" You don't ask someone that, are you sure? How can you be so sure? It's not proper. Anyway, what Bodhidharma did for ShenGuang is that, if you can imagine, ShenGuang is hot stuff. He's revered by lay people. He's well respected, impressed by the heavenly beings. Okay, he's a hot shot. Okay, but ShenGuang is not used to kneeling behind someone like that. So initially, I assure you, ShenGuang had thoughts of quitting. He said, "This is nonsense. Okay, it's going nowhere. What am I doing? Let's go back and face death. It's less embarrassing than this. How can I explain to my supporters I kneel behind this dark-skinned monk, bushy beard, who ignores me completely?" Okay? And when these thoughts of quitting arose in ShenGuang's mind, Bodhidharma would do something, or and the thought would die. Okay, so ShenGuang actually received help from Bodhidharma invisibly, Otherwise, there's no way ShenGuang could have lasted 9 years. So what Bodhidharma did for ShenGuang is that he invisibly helped ShenGuang not quit. Otherwise, you have quit 9 years ago, a long, long time ago. Does it make sense to you? No ordinary person, unless they are a sage, would do this silly thing for 9 years. That's impossible. That's totally nonsense, unless he was helped. Is that clear? Okay? So don't be so full yourself. Your progress actually is, your practice has a lot of help from a lot of good guys. We're on the good side of the fence, of the railroad tracks, okay? When you do this good thing here, you receive so much help, trust me. So ShenGuang got help from Bodhidharma because Bodhidharma would make sure that he would not quit, okay? And then, for example, in the summertime, it's very, very hot, okay? And ShenGuang was perspiring, for example, and he said, I can't take this much, I'm going to pass out this heat. And all of a sudden, there's a light breeze. So the Dharma protectors would blow air, cool air, not hot air. Seriously, when you're hot, someone does this for you, it changes. It gives you the kind of relief that's so much appreciated. So ShenGuang had a lot of help, a lot of support, because not only Bodhidharma was helping him, the Dharma protectors around Venerable Bodhidharma was also assisting him, in so many invisible ways. We are on the good side, guys. If you think that the demons are causing a lot of problems out there, I assure you, the good guys are also helping us as well. Okay? That's what happened. That's the only way that this could have transpired, in my opinion. Lesson? Don't be so full of yourself. We're receiving a lot of help, a lot more help than we are aware of. All right? So anyway, okay. Why do we go into 大会 Sung or Zong, whatever. Okay. So anyway, the main thing here, I don't know why we got to this 大会 here. Okay, but the interesting point here is that Venerable Bodhidharma transmitted the certain teaching to ShenGuang. Okay, and that is the seal behind the transmission from generation to generation. Somehow they have to transmit the certain teaching to the next generation, because that is the essence of Chan. That is the essence of Mahayana. I'm sorry, Korean Sunims. Chan is not Son is not Hua Tou. Okay, Son is the certain teaching. And that's how you can tell whether you have real Chan or not. For example, in Japan, they don't have a certain teaching at all. There's no mention of it. From the documents I read in English, no mention of certain teaching. It's all about more Hinayana aspects of Chan, of meditation. All right? Anyway, I don't know why we had 43 here, this Dawei here. real Chan, not real Chan, East West. Yeah. So after Venerable Bodhidharma taught ShenGuang, okay, that special certain teaching right there, ShenGuang immediately became enlightened. That's how you transmit the certain teaching. Then Bodhidharma recognized ShenGuang was right there at the threshold, okay, and then ShenGuang, who then later became Huike, said, now that the arm hurts, and he says, I am troubled by the pain in my arm. Okay, please help me calm my mind down. And Bodhidharma says, bring me your mind, I will calm it down for you. And Huike says, I can't find my mind. How can I bring it to you? Okay. I said, then I pacify your mind. And at that point, Huike then crossed the threshold and went into the world, the realm of enlightenment. Time is up. Oh my God, time is up. So sorry, Korea. Okay, so we end here today. Thank you all for coming. And I'm sorry I exceeded the time limit. Next time we continue 45. Okay, thank you.